Insurify. At Insurify, we make it easy to cut your car insurance bill in half.
Half? How?
Just go to Insurify.com and compare dozens of quotes in a few clicks. We cut out the middleman so you can cut your bill in half. We even cut out the phone calls. You can do it all online.
I just cut my bill in half.
That's Insurify. Compare prices and switch online.
Half the bill, twice the... Not having to pay twice as much.
Go to Insurify.com and save up to $1,000 a year on your car insurance.
Have all members voted? Have all members voted? Do any members wish to change their vote? On this vote, the yeas are 217, the nays are 212. The resolution is adopted. Does the gentleman from California seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that all members have 5 legislative days to revise and extend their remarks and include extraneous material on H.R. 4016, and that I may include tabular material on the same. Mr. Chair.
Without objection.
Mr. Chair, I yield myself such time as I may consume.
And will suspend. Pursuant to House Resolution 580 and Rule 18, the Chair declares the House in Committee of the Whole House on the State of the Union for consideration of H.R. 4016. The Chair appoints the gentleman from Florida, Mr. Fine, to preside over the Committee of the Whole.
Okay. The House is in the Committee of the Whole House on the State of the Union for the consideration of H.R. 4016, which the clerk will report by title.
A bill making appropriations for the Department of Defense for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2026, and for other purposes.
Pursuant to the rule, the bill is considered read the first time. General debate shall be confined to the bill and shall not exceed 1 hour, equally divided and controlled by the chair and ranking minority member of the Committee on Appropriations or their respective designees. The gentleman from California, Mr. Calvert, and the gentlewoman from Minnesota, Ms. McCollum, each will control 30 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from California.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to offer H.R. 4016, the fiscal year 2026 Department of Defense Appropriations Act. I want to start by thanking Chairman Cole for his leadership in this process. I want to thank the Defense Subcommittee ranking member, Ms. McCollum, for her partnership and friendship. Finally, I want to thank the Defense Subcommittee staff for their tireless work on this year's bill. H.R. 4016 provides $831.5 billion for the Department of Defense and the intelligence community. While this is a relatively flat discretionary funds enacted in fiscal year 25, coupled with the recently enacted Reconciliation Act, it provides nearly $1 trillion to modernize and sustain our armed forces. Today's threat environment continues to grow more complex. Russia remains an aggressive actor. China's values continue to clash with ours as they advance their military capability. Now more than ever, the United States requires strategic investments to defend and protect the American people. Preventing harmful actors, aggression amplifies the need to develop and field capability that provide America the military advantage we need. First, this bill champions Americans' military superiority in a variety of ways. It enhances investments in 5th and 6th generation aircraft such as F-35s, F-47s, F/A-XX. The bill prioritizes modernization of the nuclear triad through investments in the B-21 Raider, the Columbia-class submarine, and Sentinel. This bill also provides approximately $13 billion for missile defense and space programs in support of the Golden Dome effort. Innovation in our defense industrial base and workforce remain cornerstones to providing America's competitive edge. This bill builds off successful prior initiatives through combined funding of $1.3 billion spread across DIU, the Office of Strategic Capital, and AFFIT. Furthermore, $1.5 billion is provided to support the maritime industrial base by investing in critical supply chain and workforce training. Drug trafficking, including fentanyl, remains a very serious crisis across America and throughout the United States and poses a national security threat. This bill protects the homeland with this in mind. It combats international actors who facilitate drug trafficking and manufacturing by investing $1.15 billion to counter drug programs, including increasing funding for the National Guard efforts. Following the administration's lead, this bill leans forward on shaping a more efficient and effective Department of Defense by reducing $6.5 billion, almost 45,000 civilian employees. Altogether, this bill is a good bill. I encourage its passage, and with that, I reserve my time.
The gentleman reserves. The gentlewoman from Minnesota is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I yield myself such may time as I consume.
You're recognized.
I rise today in opposition to H.R. 4016, the Department of Defense Appropriations Act for fiscal year 2026. Before I begin getting into the bill, I'd like to recognize the work of my staff, Jennifer Chartrand, Jason Gray, Ed on the minority side, Ben Peterson, and my defense fellow, Lita Lawrence, on the other side. And of course, I'd like to also recognize the work that we do with Adam Sullivan and all the fabulous majority staff. I want to thank you all for your hard work. I also would like to thank my ranking member, Chairman Delora, as well as Chairman Cole, but especially Chairman Calvert for his leadership on the subcommittee and his friendship. Mr. Chairman, you had to write this bill without a full budget request, and those are unprecedented circumstances, and I know this process was difficult. Now turning to the bill, Mr. Chair. Fiscal year 2026 Defense Appropriation Bill Acts totals $831.5 billion. That's the same level that DoD is currently operating at under the full year continuing resolution. This bill was written without having any of the full fiscal year 2026 budget requests in front of us, and that's a huge problem, and let me explain why. The Defense Appropriation Act is this committee's largest discretionary funding bill. It's a complex piece of legislation dealing with a wide range of national security issues such as the construction of ships and submarines, the launch of technology and advanced satellites, the development of hypersonic weapons, and most importantly, supporting our service members and their families who bravely serve our nation. It is in the best interest of our nation for our defense bill to be written the right way, and that is done with thorough analysis. Mr. Speaker, could I ask for the House to be in order, please?
The gentlewoman will suspend. The committee will come to order.
Thank you.
The gentlewoman is recognized.
Thank you. The DoD's programs require detailed annual review because these programs naturally ebb and flow over time. The only way for our subcommittee to analyze this information and write a thoughtful and thorough, informed bill is to review a full budget request. Now, I want to take a moment just to illustrate that, Mr. Chair. These two poster boards represent a single DoD program that we fund. This is the Future Long-Range Assault Aircraft. This is an advanced helicopter for the Army. This poster shows the 9-page congressional budget justification documents for this program from last year's budget request. These documents represent critical, granular details that the subcommittee needs to properly evaluate the DoD programs. It not only shows us what the request is for the coming fiscal years, but also what's expected over the next 5 years. Now that detail, the next 5 years, is how we can see if the program is still on target compared to the previous year. And this is important. Why? Because we don't have clean audits from the Department of Defense, except for the Marine Corps. These documents are the only way we can track the money. These documents are part of the normal budget process that every administration and Congress has operated under. This year, because President Trump's administration failed to submit a full budget request, what do we have to write this bill? Mr. Chair, I call your attention to the second poster board. The number you see here, one line. This represents all that we received on the Future Long-Range Assault Aircraft to write this bill. 9 pages of background on one hand and one number on the other. This administration gave us almost no information to make decisions, and that is completely unacceptable. I wonder what the majority's action would have been if the Biden administration had failed to submit a budget request. The fact is, we did not have President Trump's plan for his defense priorities when this bill was written. And this makes this bill, unfortunately, an incomplete product. For example, Golden Dome at this point is merely still a concept and not a full plan. None of us have been briefed on how the administration intends to spend $175 billion or deliver it in 3 years. The analysis by DoD is incomplete. We don't know how the money for Golden Dome will impact future defense bills. Another example is the cost to deploy the National Guard around the country to do Homeland Security's job. In June, we found out the cost to deploy 4,000 California National Guardsmen and 700 Marines to Los Angeles was $134 million. Now, Secretary Hagseth is reviewing a request from the Department of Homeland Security to deploy more than 20,000 National Guard troops across the country. And to what end is that goal? To turn the National Guard into the National Police? Well, I don't agree with that. The National Guard is intended to be used for specific purposes. Yes, they're used in states when natural disasters occur. Or yes, even in times of civil unrest when their governors call them up. And then there's the federal 10 missions when they are deployed overseas or in times of natural emergency, like on September 11th. Deploying 20,000 troops has a serious budgetary impact. But Secretary Hagseth did not